I don't require a fresh face on the Riverside project, Thomas, particularly not a designer who failed to make the cut at Westfield and Partners. Robert Bennett stated, his blue eyes icy as he fixed his gaze on his oldest friend and business partner across the desk. Emma Sullivan is a project manager, not merely a designer, and she certainly didn't fail to meet expectations. She departed because Jerome Westfield was claiming credit for her efforts, Thomas argued, leaning in closer. Indeed, her presence is essential. The Riverside project stands as our most significant commission in recent years. For 2 decades, I've navigated life without the presence of a romantic relationship. I can handle things just fine without bringing on a new employee, Robert stated plainly. With a heavy heart, Thomas let out a deep sigh. Those 2 matters are not connected, Rob, and perhaps that's precisely the issue at hand. Robert glanced toward the expansive floor-to-ceiling windows of his corner office. The Seattle skyline unfolded before him, resembling a meticulously crafted model of his own design. At 48, Robert Bennett had achieved all his professional aspirations, serving as the founder and principal architect of Bennett Architectural Design, a firm renowned throughout the Pacific Northwest. His personal life, however, felt as vacant as the immaculate guest bedroom in his penthouse apartment. She begins tomorrow, Thomas remarked as he rose to depart, and you'll be conducting her interview yourself. Once Thomas departed, Robert relaxed his tie and yanked open his desk drawer. Within rested a tiny velvet box that had remained untouched for years. There was no necessity for him to do so. He recalled vividly the appearance of the emerald-cut diamond, how it had glimmered on Olivia's finger for precisely 3 months and 17 days prior to the accident. That evening, Robert's penthouse was enveloped in silence, broken only by the soft clink of ice in his whiskey glass. On his coffee table rested the portfolio of Emma Sullivan. Pages turned to reveal her remarkable resume alongside a photograph of a woman with striking blonde hair and resolute eyes. He had examined her writing. It was remarkable, yet he felt no curiosity about the individual who created it. His phone vibrated with a message from Sophia, his little sister. Have you had a chance to review her portfolio yet? She has the potential to contribute positively to the organization. That's great to hear, big brother. Robert remained silent. Sophia had spent years attempting to draw him back into the realm of the living. She failed to grasp that he was living precisely as he desired, intent, undeterred, and comfortably removed from the chaotic realm of emotional connections. He grasped the photograph once more. There was something unsettling about Emma Sullivan's expression, a boldness in her gaze that implied she was not one to be easily cowed. Bennett Architectural operated with a focus on precision and a clear hierarchy, with Robert leading the way. He preferred to keep that system undisturbed. The following morning, the elevator doors slid open on the 30th floor, and Robert emerged, almost bumping into a woman who was precariously balancing a cardboard tray filled with coffee cups. "Pardon me," she said, taking a step back. "I failed to notice your presence." He responded with clarity, taking note of her visitor badge. All deliveries should be directed to the service entrance. A fleeting expression, maybe irritation, flitted across her features. "I'm only bringing these coffees to my new colleagues. Today marks the beginning for me, Emma Sullivan." She moved the coffee tray aside to extend her hand. Robert experienced a wave of embarrassment, yet he managed to conceal it. "Robert Bennett, my office in a quarter of an hour." In his office, Robert meticulously organized Emma's portfolio materials on his desk. He was determined to complicate things. Bennett Architectural was known for its unwavering commitment to quality, and he refused to compromise his standards for anyone, regardless of Thomas's insistence on her necessity. As Emma stepped in precisely 15 minutes later, she had shed her coat, unveiling a fitted navy suit. She appeared ready, polished, and exasperatingly self-assured. "Miss Sullivan," he started, not inviting her to sit down. "Your portfolio demonstrates potential, but I would like to know the reason behind your sudden departure from Westfield and Partners." "From my viewpoint, Mr. Bennett, it wasn't sudden. It was long awaited. Jerome Westfield claimed my design for the Portland Cultural Center as his own. When I brought up the concern, I was pushed to the side. Robert observed her intently. Only the facts, devoid of self-pity or theatrics. He was able to recognize that. What makes Bennett architectural the choice? She stated it plainly, you create enduring works. I desire for my creations to hold significance. Just as Robert was about to reply, his assistant rushed in unexpectedly. Mr. Bennett, the Henderson clients have arrived ahead of schedule. The attendees are gathered in the conference room, awaiting the start of the meeting. The presentation isn't for another hour, Robert remarked, glancing at his watch. Their flight has been altered. They depart at noon. Robert glanced at Emma. We'll pick this up again later. Could you navigate your way to the HR department? As Emma nodded and began to walk away, Robert experienced an unexpected hesitation to conclude their exchange. He brushed aside the sensation without a second thought. There was a task at hand, and that was the only thing of significance. Emma's inaugural day at Bennett Architectural commenced with rain drumming against the windows of the 30th floor. With meticulous care, she organized her workspace, ensuring the laptop was aligned just right. A small plant nestled in the corner, and a family photo subtly placed beside her monitor. Nervous on the first day? Inquired a warm voice. Emma glanced up to find a man roughly her age. His kind eyes sparkling with warmth and a relaxed smile gracing his lips. I am Thomas Wright, he stated, reaching out his hand. We corresponded regarding your portfolio. Absolutely, without a doubt. Thank you for supporting my application, Emma said, gripping his hand firmly. Robert can be quite intense, Thomas remarked, his voice dropping to a whisper. Yet he possesses remarkable brilliance. And just, Emma remarked with a faint smile. I observed the intense part yesterday. The verdict remains undecided on the remainder. The Henderson presentation is set to begin in 1 hour. Major prospective clients. Robert is eager for your presence to take note of the happenings. Emma nodded, resolute in her intention to leave a positive impression following the previous day's uncomfortable beginning. As Thomas departed, she opened her desk drawer and tucked away the divorce papers that had been finalized 3 months prior. A fresh start with a new role. She recalled discovering the messages on James's phone, the personal exchanges with her coworker Natalie. The treachery was two-pronged, affecting both the heart and the career. She had departed from both her marriage and Westfield and Partners in the same month. The conference room hummed with energy as Emma stepped inside. Robert positioned himself at the head of the table, meticulously organizing the presentation materials. Miss Sullivan, kindly distribute these renderings, he said, his gaze fixed elsewhere. Emma collected the array of premium prints depicting the envisioned Henderson office complex. As she moved gracefully around the table, the door suddenly swung open, colliding with her arm. Coffee from her mug splattered across 3 of the renderings, leaving a growing brown mark. The atmosphere grew still. I'm truly sorry, Emma exclaimed, filled with dread. Robert's expression grew stern as he took in the destruction around him. In just 5 minutes, the Hendersons would arrive, and Emma's thoughts raced with anticipation. Are the digital files accessible to us? I have the ability to adapt and create on the spot. She approached the computer with determination, not pausing for any approval. Thomas, could you please retrieve the 3D model files? I will develop an immersive virtual walkthrough rather than relying on static renderings. Robert observed intently as Emma swiftly pieced together an engaging presentation. Upon the arrival of the Henderson couple, a silver-haired gentleman accompanied by his elegantly attired wife, Emma took the initiative without waiting for Robert to step forward. Mr. and Mrs. Henderson, we have something truly special to share with you today, she announced, taking a step forward. Instead of simple illustrations, we've crafted an engaging experience of your future environment. For the next 20 minutes, Emma led them on a virtual tour, showcasing features that aligned with the insights she had swiftly gathered from their company profile. She highlighted the importance of sustainability and the value of collaborative spaces, observing Mrs. Henderson's approving nod. As she concluded, a brief stillness enveloped the room before Mr. Henderson broke the silence. This is precisely what we've been searching for, he remarked, glancing at Robert. Your team grasps our vision flawlessly. Once the Hendersons departed with their assurances of progress, Emma steeled herself for Robert's response. To her astonishment, he merely nodded. He remarked with a flash of insight, "However, in the future, please ensure that drinks are kept away from the presentation materials." "Indeed," Emma responded, feeling a mix of relief and subtle disappointment at his measured reply. Later that afternoon, Thomas made his way to her desk. The Hendersons have put their names to the initial agreement. Robert felt a sense of admiration, though he would never express it openly. Does he ever express anything straightforward that isn't a critique? Emma inquired. Thomas chuckled heartily. Infrequently. You really ought to join us for the company social this evening. Observe the way we tidy up the exterior of the office. The gathering took place at a chic lounge with stunning views of Elliott Bay. Emma stepped in wearing a sleek black dress, exuding an air of professionalism and grace. She noticed Robert right away. He lingered on the fringes of the gathering, cradling a scotch in hand, keenly observing the scene rather than engaging with it. A female voice beside her remarked, "He always does that. Observes each person as if they are a component of an intricate design he is assessing." The lady reached out her hand. Sophia Bennett, the more approachable sibling. Emma Sullivan has taken on the role of project manager. The one who accidentally spilled coffee yet ended up rescuing the Henderson presentation. News spreads quickly. Sophia beamed with a gentle warmth. "Robert brought you up. Everything seems to be negative, I suppose." "No, that's not the case. For my brother, this is quite the compliment." Emma cast another look at Robert. He appears to be alone. Sophia let out a deep sigh. This time of year is particularly challenging. The anniversary is approaching quickly. Celebration of a milestone? Regarding Olivia's passing. His betrothed. They had been engaged when she tragically lost her life in a car accident. 2 decades have passed. Yet for Rob, it feels as fresh as if it were just yesterday. Emma experienced an unexpected change in how she viewed Robert Bennett. The once stern and unyielding boss now seemed to reveal a new perspective. A soul trapped in sorrow, navigating the routines of an existence he has yet to reclaim. He hasn't been in a serious relationship since then, Emma inquired softly. Far from it. The company consumed his entire existence. Sophia observed her brother with a heavy heart. He crafted a thriving enterprise while leading an impeccably hollow existence. As though aware of their gaze, Robert turned his head. His gaze locked with Emma's from across the room, and in that fleeting instant, an unfiltered connection sparked between them. Acknowledgement, perhaps, of the significance of reconstructing following a setback. Emma lifted her glass ever so slightly in recognition. Following a brief pause, Robert mirrored the action. Robert said, sliding a thick folder across his desk to Emma, that the Riverside project requires an individual capable of overseeing both the technical elements and the client relationship. You are appointed as the lead project manager. Emma's eyebrows lifted in astonishment. She had just completed her 3rd week at Bennett Architectural. This is your most significant ongoing endeavor. Indeed, Robert concurred, his demeanor inscrutable. Is that an issue? Not at all, Emma replied, as she opened the folder and swiftly glanced through its contents. I'm quite taken aback that you would place your trust in someone so inexperienced. The Henderson client explicitly asked for you, Robert confessed, his irritation evident in his tone. Your portfolio demonstrates your experience with projects of comparable scale. Emma experienced a subtle wave of pride. After years of seeing her work credited to others at Westfield, this acknowledgement brought a sense of validation. I appreciate the opportunity, she remarked, gently shutting the folder. I will not disappoint you. I understand you won't, Robert responded. His tone implied that this was not a compliment, but rather a demand. In the coming weeks, Emma dove deep into the Riverside project, a vibrant mixed-use development that seamlessly blends retail, office space, and upscale condominiums along the picturesque Seattle waterfront. She soon realized that although Robert's designs were exceptional, his dealings with clients left much to be desired. Mr. Dalton, I appreciate your concerns regarding the atrium design, Robert stated with a rigid demeanor during the client meeting, but making changes would jeopardize the structural integrity of the entire east wing. The client's expression turned steely. Then seek a resolution that honors my vision while respecting your framework. That's the reason I'm compensating you. Following a tense pause, Emma stepped in. How about we design a modified atrium that provides the spacious ambience you desire, Mr. Dalton, while also ensuring the structural support that Robert requires. She swiftly drafted a revised design on her tablet. In this manner, she persisted, demonstrating to him. We maintain the crucial structural columns while transforming them into artistic features that enhance your brand's visual appeal. The atmosphere in the room lightened as Mr. Dalton leaned in, clearly intrigued. In the elevator, Robert remained silent. I wasn't trying to undermine you, Emma said. But there are times when clients need to feel acknowledged before they can truly listen. Focused on the tangible, not the emotional, Robert responded. Every structure involves people, Emma argued. Overlooking the human aspect doesn't enhance your designs. Constrains them. Robert gazed at her in astonishment, unaccustomed to facing such a challenge. He paused for a moment, acknowledging the validity of the argument. The client meetings have always been a challenging aspect of the process for me. Emma proposed that we explore a different method. You concentrate on the design aspects where you excel, and I'll take care of the client interactions. Robert gave a slow nod. We'll give it a shot your way. The revised setup demonstrated its effectiveness. Robert crafted innovative designs. Emma conveyed their ideas to clients, and the Riverside project advanced seamlessly. They found a harmonious flow, recognizing and valuing each other's unique talents. On a Tuesday morning, Robert was absent from work. He's always reliable, Thomas remarked when Emma inquired. His expression was somber, yet today feels distinct. Emma was struck by a sudden recollection of Sophia's words during the company social, marking the anniversary of Olivia's passing. Following dinner that evening, Emma found herself behind the wheel, heading toward Robert's address, a detail she had noted in the company documents. She lingered in her car outside his building for a quarter of an hour, summoning the bravery to confront the doorman. I'm here to see Robert Bennett, she stated, presenting her company ID. It concerns a pressing work issue. Upstairs, Robert opened the door, presenting a stark contrast to the polished architect who ruled the office. His hair was tousled, his eyes vacant, and he clutched a glass of golden liquid. Miss Sullivan, he stated bluntly, this is not suitable. So, drinking alone on a weeknight, huh? She said, brushing past him as she entered the apartment. The space exuded a minimalist charm, hauntingly devoid of personal touches, reminiscent of a model home rather than a lived-in sanctuary. A solitary framed photograph graced the mantel, capturing a moment of joy with a young Robert and a dark-haired woman, both beaming with smiles. Is that you, Olivia? Emma inquired gently. Robert tensed up. Sophia informed you. It was brought up by her. Emma made her way to the kitchen, locating a glass and pouring herself some water. She passed it to him. Opt for this instead. To her astonishment, he acquiesced, placing the scotch aside. What brings you here? He inquired. Losing someone transforms you, Emma remarked with a quiet intensity. And at times, the anniversary can be more painful than the day it happened. She recounted the moment she discovered the messages on her ex-husband's phone, the wave of betrayal washing over her, and how even now, specific songs or restaurants could unexpectedly trigger a deep sorrow for what had slipped away. Your loss was far greater, she added, yet I grasp only a small part of it. Robert remained silent for an extended period. He finally revealed that we were set to be married at the Arboretum. It was the place she cherished most. Have you returned to that place? Emma inquired. Never in 2 decades. They lingered in a comfortable quiet, two souls who grasped the essence of loss through their unique perspectives. Thank you, Robert finally uttered, his voice barely above a whisper, eschewing empty phrases. Empty words are for those who have yet to feel true suffering, Emma replied. They offer no assistance to those of us who have experienced. As Emma departed an hour later, An unspoken change lingered in the air, a groundwork established for an undefined connection that neither could articulate just yet. The following day, Robert arrived at work, maintaining his typical poise. Yet as he walked by Emma's desk, he took a moment to stop. He mentioned that the client meeting is at 2. Your approach seems to have more potential than mine. Emma nodded, realizing this was the nearest semblance of camaraderie that Robert Bennett was capable of providing at the moment. At this moment, it sufficed. Robert frowned at the Riverside model on the conference table, noting that the sight lines from the northwest corner remain an issue. As the clock approached midnight, they found themselves the last souls remaining in the office. What if we adjust the angle of the glass curtain wall? Emma proposed, leaning over the model. Her golden locks cascaded forward as she absent-mindedly tucked them behind her ear. Robert pondered the suggestion, then meticulously adjusted a part of the mock-up. Is this what you mean? Indeed, that's correct. Their collaboration had developed over the 2 months since she'd been to his apartment. Throughout the day, their interactions were purely professional, yet as the night wore on, their collaborative efforts took on a unique cadence and closeness, creating a mutual understanding of design challenges and resolutions. Robert acknowledged, your instincts are impressive, surpassing those of many architects I've collaborated with. Emma beamed with joy. Exceptional commendation from the esteemed Robert Bennett. Don't let it go to your head, he replied, though a warmth had crept into his voice that hadn't been there when they first met. The Riverside project had evolved through their joint efforts. Emma initiated community engagement sessions that transformed potential critics into passionate supporters. Robert's designs evolved to embrace a more human-centric approach, all while preserving his hallmark precision. Today's planning commission meeting was a success, Emma remarked, adjusting her position from the model. The chairwoman offered specific praise for how public space was seamlessly integrated with private development. Robert highlighted that as your contribution to the design. In alignment with your initial idea, Emma began to tally. Our collaboration is truly effective. Robert lifted his gaze, locking eyes with her. In a fleeting, electric instant, an understanding flickered between them, a sense of a bond that had evolved past mere professional admiration. Robert was the first to look away. The hour is late. Let's wrap this up by tomorrow. Are you really proposing to leave work before midnight? Who are you and what have you done to Robert Bennett? Emma playfully taunted. He astonished her with a heartfelt laugh, a rare melody that changed the expression on his face. Even the most dedicated individuals require rest from time to time. As they collected their belongings, Emma caught sight of Robert gazing at the city lights shimmering beyond the windows. What's on your mind? I found myself reflecting on how long it's been since I've truly enjoyed collaborating with someone. He paused, lost in thought. Since the early days of Thomas? Emma provided.
No, Robert murmured softly.
Ever since Olivia. She was a creator of beautiful spaces. We worked together on multiple projects prior to our relationship. The admission lingered in the atmosphere, weighty in its uncommonness. Robert Bennett rarely spoke of Olivia, and when he did, it was with great reluctance. The following morning, their easygoing routine was interrupted by the unexpected arrival of James Peterson, the CEO of Peterson Development Group, who happened to be one of Bennett Architectural's most significant clients. He entered the office with his characteristic authoritative aura. Bennett, exactly the person I was hoping to encounter. He reached out, disregarding the usual office protocols as per usual. Robert stood to welcome him, his composed facade securely intact. James, I didn't realize there was a meeting on the agenda. Unexpected visit, Peterson responded. Then his eyes landed on Emma. And who might this be? Emma Sullivan, the project manager overseeing Riverside. Robert made the introduction, his tone deliberately even. James Peterson, the man declared, grasping Emma's hand and lingering just a moment too long. It's a delight to make your acquaintance. Emma withdrew her hand with grace. In the same vein, may I offer you a coffee, Mr. Peterson? James, if you would be so kind. I would prefer if you could join us for lunch. I'm bringing Robert along to talk about the growth of my Seattle holdings. Before either had the chance to reply, Peterson pressed on. I firmly assert my position. I'm eager to learn more about this Riverside project that has captured the Planning Commission's admiration. The midday meal took place at a prestigious eatery with a stunning view of the Sound. Peterson took control of the discussion. His focus shifted more and more towards Emma, leaving business matters in the background. So, Emma, he said, pouring more wine into her glass even though she tried to shield it with her hand. What brings someone as skilled as you to Bennett's firm? I constantly seek new viewpoints at Peterson Development. I'm quite content with my current situation, Emma stated with conviction. Everyone has a price, Peterson remarked, his smile failing to illuminate his gaze. This weekend I would like to include dinner. Robert tensed next to her. James, I think it would be beneficial for us to have a conversation about the Lake Union property. Peterson dismissed him with a wave. Business can take a back seat for now. I'm eager to learn more about your skilled project manager. Thank you for the offer, Emma replied with a calm demeanor, but I prefer to keep my personal and professional lives separate. Peterson's expression grew more resolute. It may be worth taking another look at this. I have the potential to greatly enhance someone's professional journey. The remainder of lunch unfolded with a palpable sense of tension growing in the air. Upon their return to the office, Robert exhibited an unusual silence. He finally expressed his apologies for Peterson as they went over the documents later. He's a significant client, yet that doesn't justify his conduct. Emma reassured him that there was no need for any apologies. 3 days later, calamity unfolded. A structural engineer uncovered a critical issue in the design of the Riverside Foundation, necessitating substantial revisions and possible delays. This could set us back months, Thomas said with a serious expression during an emergency meeting. We don't have months, Robert responded. A solution is required immediately. Throughout the following week, Robert and Emma toiled almost incessantly. A conference room was transformed into a war room, its walls adorned with sketches and calculations. On the 6th night, overwhelmed by fatigue, they at last discovered a resolution. Look there, Emma exclaimed, gesturing toward a change in the support structure. By redistributing the load in this manner and reinforcing these columns, Robert explained, using a red marker to highlight the areas, we can preserve integrity without significant redesigns. They both extended their hands toward the identical piece of the architectural model at the same moment. Their hands met, lingering in a moment that neither was quick to break. The contact transmitted an energy to Emma that was entirely unrelated to her career fulfillment. Robert's phone buzzed, shattering the stillness of the moment. His expression grew somber as he responded. Peterson, indeed, she is present. He cast a fleeting look at Emma. Unfortunately, that's not feasible. I see where you're coming from, but yes, I'm fully aware of the financial consequences. Once the call ended, Robert's expression turned serious. What was it that he desired? Emma inquired, even though she had her suspicions. You, Robert stated directly, tomorrow night at dinner. If not, he will withdraw all his projects from the firm. That's extortion, Emma declared, her anger bubbling to the surface. That's the way of the world as Peterson sees it. Robert raked his fingers through his hair, an unusual sign of exasperation. He accounts for roughly 20% of our yearly income. What are our next steps? Robert gazed at her, his piercing blue eyes filled with intensity. It all hinges on your intentions and aspirations. Robert stated with conviction, I won't request that you join Peterson for dinner. There's no endeavor that justifies that. Emma examined his face, taken aback by the fervor in his voice. Is it really as much as 20% of your yearly earnings? Is that really the case? He started collecting the disarrayed sketches from their nocturnal brainstorming meeting. I will reach out to him tomorrow and clarify that Bennett Architectural does not function in that manner. Emma inquired if you would jeopardize your company for a principal. Robert gazed at her, his demeanor solemn. Absolutely, for the suitable principal and the ideal individual. The final words lingered in the space between them, heavy with significance that neither was prepared to confront completely. The following morning, Robert placed a call to Peterson from his office, with Emma by his side. He maintained a formal tone, yet allowed no space for compromise. He concluded by acknowledging that this indicated you would be seeking services elsewhere. The transition documents will be ready by the end of the week. Once the call ended, Robert let out a slow breath. Well, that's accomplished. Thank you, Emma murmured softly. That was the correct choice, he responded. Yet a flicker of concern passed over his features. Thomas took the news with a more practical mindset. 20%. Rob. We must make the difficult decision to part ways with some individuals. Absolutely not, Robert replied firmly. We will discover new clients, ones that are even more exceptional. This goes beyond just Peterson's actions, doesn't it? Thomas inquired, shifting his gaze between Robert and Emma. Neither responded straightforwardly. Later that week, as Emma toiled away late into the night finalizing the Riverside revisions, her phone buzzed with a number that had been absent from her life for months. Hey Emma, it's James. The sound of her ex-husband's voice stirred a surprising surge of feelings within her, a tangled blend of anger and sorrow rather than longing. What is it that you seek, James? To converse. I've been engaging in quite a bit of contemplation, quite a bit of therapy, to be honest. I committed some grave errors. Emma shut her eyes, thankful that he was unaware of her expression. This conversation has come at an inopportune time. Just dinner, please. A single opportunity to express a sincere apology. I find myself in Seattle attending a conference. Despite her reservations, Emma decided to meet him the next evening. She convinced herself it was merely for closure, nothing beyond that. The following day, she brought up the dinner in a nonchalant manner to Robert as they went over contractor bids. Your former spouse is visiting the area. Robert maintained a calm demeanor, yet his body language grew rigid. Only for a short while. He wishes to engage in conversation. What is reconciliation? Robert averted his gaze as he inquired. That will not occur, Emma stated with conviction. Robert acknowledged but kept a certain distance for the remainder of the day. By evening, he had retreated entirely, making excuses to avoid their scheduled work session, citing other obligations. The dinner with James unfolded just as Emma had anticipated. His regret appeared sincere, yet so had his promises made on that special day. As he extended his hand toward hers across the table, she recoiled. I have no desire to attempt that once more, James. Is there another person involved? He inquired. Emma paused, her thoughts drifting to Robert. Recently, there have been many late-night conversations about design principles, of his infrequent yet life-changing smile, of how he confronted Peterson boldly and without a moment's doubt. This is quite intricate, she finally remarked. Upon her arrival at work the following morning, she found Robert's office devoid of any presence. His assistant conveyed that he was enjoying an uncommon day of rest. During lunch, Sophia made her way to Emma's desk. She invited me to take a stroll together. In a quaint park adjacent to the office building, Sophia wasted no time getting to the heart of the matter. My brother is a fool, she asserted. Pardon me? He heard you had dinner with your ex-husband, and now he's convinced you're rekindling things, Emma sighed. That won't be occurring. I am aware of that. You're aware of that. Yet Rob has persuaded himself that it was unwise to allow himself to care for someone once more. Sophia perched on a bench, gently inviting someone to join her by patting the space beside her. 2 decades passed, my brother was not the same. Unreserved, fervent, and occasionally humorous. Upon Olivia's passing, he put everything into storage. Emma remarked that he mentioned she was an interior designer. Their synergy was nothing short of exceptional. In the wake of her passing, he constructed a stronghold to shield himself from the world. The company consumed his entire existence. Sophia gazed at Emma with focused intensity. Until your presence graced the scene. I'm merely his employee, Emma insisted. It's clear to both of us that there's something deeper, Sophia replied. It fills him with dread. What do you propose I consider? It means nothing if your feelings aren't reciprocated. However, if you choose to, Sophia shrugged, someone has to take the initiative and it certainly won't be him. That evening, Emma found herself navigating the streets toward Robert's apartment, her mind swirling with uncertainty. The doorman recognized her and permitted her to ascend without making a prior call. Robert swung the door open, his expression a mix of surprise and mild pleasure. "Emma, your arrival took me by surprise." She observed his casual attire, noting the jeans and gray sweater that softened his typically rigid appearance. "May I enter?" Upon entering, the apartment felt transformed since her previous visit, now imbued with warmth, as books lay open and a half-empty coffee cup rested on the table. "I'm not getting back together with James," she stated plainly. Robert's eyes fluttered momentarily. "That's not my concern. Is it not?" Emma faced a challenge. "It seems like our conversations have dwindled since I brought up dinner with him. I have been quite occupied." "You've been concealing yourself," she pointed out, "because it's simpler than acknowledging your feelings." Robert averted his gaze, shifting towards the windows that framed the sprawling cityscape. "Compassion adds layers of complexity." "Life is complicated," Emma remarked, trailing behind him. "That doesn't imply we cease to experience it." "Have I really been doing that, not truly living?" "You tell me," she said gently. "When was the last occasion you embraced a risk that didn't pertain to the company?" Robert remained quiet for an extended period. "I am unable to fulfill your needs, Emma," she responded firmly. "You don't have the authority to determine what I require. That is my decision." "And what is it that you require?" he inquired, at last pivoting to meet her gaze. Emma inhaled deeply. "Transparency to begin with." "Truthfulness," Robert reiterated. "Understood. You have occupied my thoughts for weeks on end. When you mentioned dinner with your ex-husband, I found myself believing that you might return to him, as it felt more secure than holding on to the hope that you could desire this." He made a motion between them. "This?" Emma initiated. "Whatever is unfolding between us," Robert confessed. "I struggle with relationships. It has been 2 decades since I last practiced." Emma offered a faint smile. "Perhaps we could begin with something modest. Shall we consider dinner, then? Beyond the confines of the office, devoid of plans or prototypes." "I'd like that," Robert said, his expression softening, "though I can't guarantee I won't bring up architecture." Emma responded, "I'd be concerned if you didn't." Evening of Friday. On Friday, Robert gave his consent. As Emma turned to leave, he added, "Thank you for not giving up on me. Some foundations deserve to be unearthed," she remarked with a grin, "even after lying hidden for years." Half a year flew by, marked by significant achievements in my career and enlightening moments in my personal life. The Riverside project approached its final stages, celebrated by architectural publications as an ideal blend of creativity and functionality. What those publications failed to recognize was how perfectly that phrase encapsulated its creators as well. Robert and Emma had approached the shift from colleagues to something deeper with thoughtful consideration. Their initial official outing took place at a quaint Italian eatery, tucked away from the office, where they engaged in conversation for hours, never once bringing up work. Emma remarked with surprise, "I had no idea you played chess competitively in college," uncovering facets of Robert she had never envisioned during their professional exchanges. "There's so much we're yet to discover about one another," he responded, a fresh glow illuminating his gaze. In the workplace, a high standard of professionalism was upheld, yet Thomas had remarked on several occasions about the shift in Robert's demeanor. He'd noted with feigned shock that you actually smiled during the board meeting. "Should we notify the press?" At the Riverside ribbon-cutting ceremony, Emma stood alongside Robert, her heart swelling with pride as she observed him engaging with city officials and clients, a testament to their hard work and dedication. Miss Sullivan, a journalist, came forward, notepad ready. "As the project manager, what emotions arise when you witness the completion of Riverside?" "Felt like witnessing a dream take shape," Emma responded. "This structure embodies the potential of design that harmonizes aesthetics with practicality, addressing human requirements while challenging the limits of architecture." The journalist nodded, scribbling down observations. "What about collaborating with Robert Bennett? His acclaim for genius is rivaled solely by whispers of his stringent expectations." Emma cast her eyes toward Robert amidst the throng of people. The expectations are elevated due to the significant implications involved. Exceptional design influences the way individuals experience life for years to come. As they strolled through the finished atrium, the very place that had ignited their initial joint idea, Robert discreetly took Emma's hand when no one was watching. "We accomplished this," he stated plainly. "They did," she nodded, giving his hand a gentle squeeze before letting go as their co-workers drew near. That evening, the team gathered to celebrate at a sophisticated restaurant, enjoying the ambience and fine dining experience. Thomas lifted his glass in a celebratory gesture. "To Riverside, and to the surprising collaboration that transformed it into our finest creation to date." Emma locked eyes with Robert from across the table, each of them grasping the layered significance behind Thomas's words. Following dinner, Robert proposed a stroll by the waterfront, undeterred by the brisk autumn chill. He spoke with a gravity that set Emma on edge, saying, "There's something I need to discuss with you that feels foreboding." Not foreboding, merely significant. Robert halted, pivoting to confront her. "We have received an opportunity for the Castillo International Project in Barcelona." Emma's eyes grew large with surprise. "That's monumental, Robert. Worldwide acknowledgement, emphasis on sustainability, all that the organization has been striving for." Indeed, he consented. However, it would necessitate an individual to move there for a minimum of a year to manage the project in person. Realization washed over Emma. "So, you expect me to leave?" "At first, I believed that," Robert confessed. "You stand out as the clear selection in a professional context. But that was prior to," he indicated the space between them. "Before us," Emma provided. "Before I understood the sacrifices I would be making," Robert pressed on. "For 2 decades, I have dedicated myself to cultivating this company, pouring my heart and soul into it. These last 6 months spent with you have revealed that there is so much more to discover. We could consider long distance," Emma proposed, even as a heaviness settled in her chest. Robert gave a slight shake of his head. "I present an alternative suggestion." He delved into his pocket and pulled out a delicate velvet box. Emma's breath hitched. "This isn't what you think," he said quickly, opening it to reveal not a ring but a key. "Not at this moment. A key to the Barcelona office that Bennett Architectural is set to open next month. I suggest we collaborate on the Castillo project. Shall we unite? Are you really considering leaving Seattle? Not forever, but indeed for a year. Thomas is capable of managing operations here." Robert grasped her hand gently. "For 2 decades, I've remained in one place, Emma. I'm prepared to take the next step. With you, should you choose to have me." Emma observed his face, the creases at his eyes eased by joy over the recent months, the once guarded expression now laid bare and exposed. "Do you really think so? This company embodies your passion and dedication. The firm will continue to thrive," Robert said with assurance. "And it's no longer my entire life." He took a moment to stop. "There's an additional element to consider." He reached into his other pocket and pulled out a small black ring box. "This one is what you believe," he murmured gently. "I struggle with embracing new opportunities and stepping outside my comfort zone. Yet you inspire me to take that leap." He lifted the lid of the box, unveiling a diamond ring that was both understated and exquisite. "Emma Sullivan, would you join me in the Barcelona project and also contemplate the possibility of becoming my wife?" Emma chuckled, her laughter mingling with unexpected tears. "It's just like you to merge a business pitch with a romantic gesture. So, is that a yes?" Robert inquired, a rare hesitation coloring his tone. "Absolutely, Barcelona," Emma declared, moving in closer, "and yes to being your wife, though I propose we navigate the first before we dive into the second." Robert's smile illuminated his face as he gently placed the ring onto her finger. Consistently the pragmatic overseer of projects. "Someone must anchor the imaginative architect," she responded before kissing him. 2 weeks later, at their engagement party in Thomas's lakeside home, the Bennett architectural team gathered to toast not only the forthcoming Barcelona project, but also the delightful surprise of their founder's newfound romance. "I never imagined this moment would arrive," Thomas remarked, his champagne glass held high during the toast. Upon introducing Emma to the firm, I envisioned her enhancing our client relations and infusing our designs with a fresh perspective. I never envisioned she would also warm the icy heart of Robert Bennett. My heart wasn't frozen, Robert said with a playful grin, just well insulated. Joyful sounds echoed among the crowd. To Robert and Emma, Thomas continued, who demonstrate that the finest creations are crafted not merely from steel and glass, but from bravery and the opportunity for redemption. As the sound of clinking glasses filled the air, Robert leaned closer to Emma and murmured, "I was wrong, you know." "What is the topic?" she inquired. When I mentioned that caring complicates things, he gazed at her with an expression of wonder that still took her by surprise. "It does, yet it also enhances their quality beyond measure." Emma reflected on the path that had led them to this moment, navigating through coffee spills and structural flaws, moving from grief to healing, evolving from colleagues to partners in every sense. "To complications," she declared, lifting her glass to meet his. "To foundations," Robert replied, his gaze fixed on hers, "and the futures we construct upon them." After a year and 3 months, Emma found herself on the balcony of their Barcelona apartment, gazing at the morning sun casting its glow on Sagrada Familia in the distance. The atmosphere was infused with the briny aroma of the ocean, harmoniously intertwined with the warm, inviting fragrance of freshly baked bread wafting up from the bakery beneath. Coffee in hand, Robert emerged beside her, cradling 2 steaming mugs. She remarked on the impeccable timing, gratefully accepting one. The sunlight danced upon her wedding ring as she lifted the cup to her lips. 6 months prior, they exchanged vows in an intimate ceremony with a breathtaking view of the Mediterranean, attended solely by Thomas, Sophia, and a handful of dear friends. The contractor reached out. "The atrium glass for the Castillo project is set to arrive tomorrow," Robert mentioned, casually leaning against the railing next to her. The Castillo International headquarters evolved from mere blueprints into a tangible reality through their collaborative oversight. What was initially planned as a 1-year endeavor transformed into a longer journey when the client decided to add an extra wing. Yet neither party objected to the prolonged stay in Barcelona. Emma reminded him that they should reach out to Thomas regarding the expansion of the Seattle office. "The board meeting is set for tomorrow," Robert acknowledged, his eyes wandering to the laptop on the desk within, where a video call awaited. The framed photo nearby captured their wedding day, with Robert appearing younger than he had in 2 decades, and Emma glowing in a modest white dress. "I never anticipated this," Robert murmured, his eyes trailing to the photograph she was staring at. Emma teased about the Barcelona project. He conceded any of it. "When you initially splattered coffee on those renderings, I considered you quite the calamity." Emma chuckled. "I was just a different kind than you expected." Their home office had transformed into a harmonious fusion of their distinct styles, with Robert's meticulous architectural models juxtaposed against Emma's instinctive design boards. A calendar hung on the wall, indicating their planned return to Seattle in 2 months. Yet both felt a swirl of emotions about departing from Barcelona. Within the confines of his space, Robert's phone emitted a chime, signaling an incoming video call. He responded to discover Thomas and Sophia displayed on the screen. "There's our dynamic duo from Barcelona," Thomas greeted them. "How is the project progressing?" Robert responded that it is on track to be finished next month. "What's the vibe in Seattle?" "Though it lacks its bold leader, the group is managing to carry on," Thomas remarked. "The proposal for Madison Street received approval yesterday." "That's wonderful news," Emma remarked, stepping into the discussion. "Isn't that the project focused on sustainability?" "Indeed, the client inquired specifically about your involvement upon your return," Sophia mentioned. As they engaged in serious discussions about the company, Emma experienced a familiar surge of unease wash over her. She politely stepped away, allowing Robert to carry on with the conversation. Upon her return, Robert had concluded the video chat and was observing her with a look of concern. "That marks the 3rd morning this week," he remarked. "Is it necessary for us to consult a doctor?" Emma beamed, softly taking his hand and resting it tenderly on her flat stomach. I have already completed that. Yesterday, during the site meeting, Robert's eyes widened as realization set in. Indeed, she has confirmed. Approximately 8 weeks into the journey. When we come back to Seattle, there will be 3 of us. For a brief instant, Robert remained motionless, his face betraying no emotion. Then, to Emma's surprise, he erupted in a laugh filled with pure joy and enveloped her in a tender embrace. A soft whisper brushed against her hair, calling her a baby. We are expecting a little one. As the sun dipped below the horizon, they strolled along the shoreline, contemplating the ways in which parenthood would reshape their meticulously organized lives. We'll need to revise the Seattle house plans, Robert remarked, already envisioning the design. The second bedroom ought to serve as the nursery, basking in the gentle morning light from the east. Always strategizing, Emma remarked with affection. Certain aspects remain constant, and certain things transform entirely, he said, pausing to gaze at the deepening horizon. Emma suggested that if someone had told her 2 years ago that she would be married, expecting a child, and thinking about making Barcelona a permanent second home, they would have been dismissed as delusional. Most likely, he nodded with a grin. I had meticulously crafted a blueprint for my life. All effort, no hassles. Emma noted there was no joy in that either. No, Robert conceded. I was present, yet not truly experiencing life. He pivoted to confront her completely. I appreciate your effort in making that change. We transformed one another, Emma reflected, considering the distance she'd traveled from the hurt woman who had walked away from her marriage and former job, resolute in her vow to never show weakness again. As dusk enveloped Barcelona, they strolled back to their apartment, engaged in a lively discussion about names and nursery hues, project schedules, and parental leave regulations. You know, Robert remarked as they approached their building. For someone who has constructed a career on meticulous plans, I find it surprisingly satisfying not to know exactly what lies ahead. Emma tightened her grip on his hand. That's the way many individuals navigate their lives, Robert. Step by step, we create our vision. As long as we're crafting it collaboratively, he responded. From their balcony that night, the lights of Barcelona unfolded before them like a vibrant tapestry of potential, reminiscent of the one they had first crafted together during those late nights at Bennett Architectural 15 months prior. Emma pondered, reflecting on how everything began with a simple coffee spill on some renderings. Not quite, Robert replied softly. It began with your fearless approach to transforming what appeared to be a catastrophe into something innovative. His hand gently covered hers, both of them resting on her stomach. Your lessons revealed that certain accidents can inspire more innovative creations. Emma rested her head on his shoulder, filled with a sense of satisfaction that their most significant partnership was only just starting.